Today I am going to solve activity 7.6 and 7.7. In activity 7.6, you are given a flowchart and a pseudocode. In part A, you are asked to identify the purpose of the algorithm that they both represent. Actually, one is a flowchart and the second one is a pseudocode, but they are given to serve the same purpose. First of all, let's see this flowchart. You can see that this start box shows that the algorithm is starting from here. The parallelogram is used to take input from the user. The input is being saved in two variables. The first one is number one, num1, and the second one is num2. These are two empty spaces in your hard disk where the user will give two numbers. Then this diamond shaped box is a decision box which is making a decision that which of these numbers is greater. If num1 is greater, this parallelogram through this parallelogram you will print this on screen that number one is largest, and otherwise if number one is not larger, then it will be displayed on the screen that number 2 is largest. The double quotation, these double quotation marks show that this sentence, this string will be displayed as such on the screen, and the value inside num1 will be printed because it is given without double quotation marks. This box shows that the algorithm will stop here. Now let's check out the pseudocode. You will input, this is serving the same purpose. User will input user will input two values, in one is in num1 and the second one in num2. These will be compared. If num1 will be larger, then it will be printed on the screen that num1 is largest. Else, if num2 will be larger, then it will be printed on the screen that num2 is largest. So the purpose of this algorithm is to compare two numbers and print the largest. So I have written this in the answer that the purpose of this algo is to display the largest number. Now let's move on to part B. In part B, you have to identify the processes included in the algorithm. You have to tell that what are the step-by-step processes that are being carried out in the algorithm. As you know that two values are being taken, then they are being compared, and then the largest value is being displayed. So we will write it over here in the answer that two numbers will be input from the user, then they will be compared, and the largest of them will be displayed with a suitable message. Then another question is asked from you over here that what would be the output if the numbers 7 and 8 were input. Of course, the larger number is 18, so 18 will be output. So answer will be this, that if 7 and 8 are input, then 18, this will be displayed on the screen that 18 is the largest number. Now let's move on to question activity 7.7. In activity 7.7, the first question is that state with reasons which validation checks you could use for the following inputs. Validation checks are applied where in forms while entering values in forms or in apps. In front of telephone number, when you write telephone number, there are certain checks that are applied over there so that you enter proper values. So the first thing validation check that will be applied in front of telephone number will be presence check, that it in order to make sure that user has entered his phone number. Then the second validation check will be length check, that the number that the user has entered is not too long or too short. And the third validation check will be format check, according to the national, which matches the style of the national telephone numbers, because the style of telephone numbers varies from country to country. Then in the same form, the pupil's name is being asked. So while entering the names, two checks must be applied. One is presence check, that the you know as you have seen asterisks sometimes placed with the name, that it's compulsory to enter the name, so to make sure that something is entered over here. And length check to make sure that the name is not too short. It should be longer than it should be between 2 characters to 30 characters, and it should not be more than 30 characters long. Now the last one is part number. If you are going to uh, entering a part number in the form, when where a triple x must be a letter and triple line. Now now you are given a specific format, that first three x represent that the first three parts should comprise of letters, and triple nine shows that the last three must be digits. Now, what can be the validation checks that can be applied to this field? First of all, is again the presence check. You must make sure that some part number is entered, and the format check is the check which ensures that the required format is being met while entering any value of part number. Now, let's move on to question number 2. Write an algorithm using pseudocode to check the age and height of a child who wants to go on a fairground ride. The age must be over 7. The age of the child must be greater than 7, and the age of the child must be under 12, must be less than 12, and the height of the child must be more than 110 centimeters, and the unit must be in centimeters, and the height of the child must be less than 150 centimeters. So there are four checks that are being applied over here. Now let's start the algorithm. First of all, it will be output to the user on screen that please enter the person sitting with the right, and the person who is giving tickets to the children will first of all enter the age of the child, in order to make sure that when the child age of the child will be entered into this variable named child age, uh, it will be output on the screen that please first enter the height of the child in centimeters, and the height of the child will also be entered. To now you have two things: first is the age of the child, and the second one is the height of the child. Now, first of all, two checks will be applied on age. The age must be less than age of the child is less than 8 or greater than 11. He will be rejected with the proper uh, reason. And if the height of the child is less than 110 centimeter or greater than 150 centimeter, because the user is required to enter the height of the child in centimeters, then he will be rejected with a suitable message on screen. In front of this, then there are four if conditions. First is if the age is less than 8. If the age of the child is less than 8, then it will be output on the screen that the child is too young. Then next check is if the age is greater than 11, then it will be output on the screen that the age of the child is too old. Then comes the next check. If the height of the child will be less than 110, then it will be output on the screen that the child is too small. And if the height of the child will be greater than 150, then it will be output on the screen that the height of the child is greater than 150. Now, uh, after performing these four checks, the else condition will only if the child is not rejected in else part, the acceptance is there in the else part, that it will be output on the screen that the child can write. You can see that we had applied the condition over here, and then when the child was supposed to be rejected, in front of this then rejection part, we have written these four rejection these four reasons for the rejection of the child. Otherwise, in else part, we are accepting that the child can write. And this if that was started over here has ended over here with end if. And this if has ended over here at this end if. This if has ended over here at the second if has ended over here at this end if. The third if has ended over here at this end if. The fourth if has ended over here at this end if. And this else is for this if that the child if the acceptance part that the child can write. Now let's move on to question number 3, the last question of this activity, that write an algorithm using pseudocode to check that the length of a password is between 8 and 12 characters inclusive. First of all, it will be output on the screen that enter your password. This a password will be taken inside the variable named password. Now that this is a repeat until loop, this condition is checking if the password is greater than 12 or less than 8. If it is greater than 12, then this message will be shown on the screen that the password is too long. And otherwise, if it is less than 8, then this message will be shown on the screen that the password is less than 8. So this is the rejection part for the condition. But if the user enters a password which is between 8 to 12 characters, then it will be accepted. So this is the acceptance pass part of the algorithm. So this was about activity 7.7. Next time I will solve activity 7.8. Thank you. This condition.